Welcome to the big program. I'm Sebastian Noel. You're watching Local Focus here. We got a really good show for you today. I'm excited about my guest. It's football playoff time, finally, in the state of New Mexico. So we're not on TV anymore for football, so you have to get your NFHS network passes to check out these playoff games. So make sure you do that. This is the time of the year for that. But I have one of my absolutely favorite players in the city as my guest this week. I don't have any problem saying this guy is the hardest hitting safety in the state of New Mexico, and that's Rio Rancho's Lucas Lucero. Lucas, welcome to the program, and thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's start there, man. Like, you hit hard, so like really hard. Where did that aggression, that ruthless aggression, come from?
I mean, just growing up playing alpha, I mean, I've always played both ways, and defense has been my favorite. And there's just something about when you hit someone, I mean, you watch YouTube and the hard hitters, and that's all you see, and I want to be like that, so that's kind of where it comes from.
Have you, you keep a list? Like, have you cracked any ribs yet or anything? Like, have you got any?
I got some pretty good, some pretty good hits, some pretty good damage, collarbones, stuff like that. But,
okay. So let's do this. Here's what I want to do. I'm gonna go through a hard hitter list, right? Of who are the guys that absolutely hit the hardest, right? Remember those old school hard hit videos like you're talking about? If there was a New Mexico football version of that, let's put 4 guys on that. And I'm gonna ask you to not pick your teammates, right? So can you think of some guys that you've seen, whether it's on the other side of the field or on TV? Who would you put on a team with you as New Mexico's hard hitters? And we'll just kind of go back and forth.
Man, that's tough. As far as my teams in the state.
Yeah, teams in the state of New Mexico.
Tyler Martinez is one of the good.
Okay, so he's on my
players.
list. So we both got Tyler Martinez. Okay, who else?
Let me think.
I'm gonna put a freshman on my list, Mason Posa at La Cueva.
Oh yeah, he's actually good friends with my little brother.
Okay.
So, Hunter too. You got to bring him up too.
All right. So, which one? You put them both on your list? You only got 4 spots.
I'm gonna go Hunter.
Okay, so you got Hunter.
Just because Mason's young right now. So.
All right. So I got Mason, and I got Tyler Martinez, and so I get to pick you. You don't get to pick a Rio Rancho Ram, but obviously you're on my list. So that's my. So I got 3. Who's your third and fourth?
Third, I'm probably gonna go with Devin Dyer. He's a former teammate of mine.
Okay, all right.
I know he brings it. And then I'm gonna have to go. I don't know. I'm not sure for the fourth.
All right, I'm gonna put Devin on my list as well. That'll round up my 4. And honorable mention to another young kid, but across the way in town there, Stratton Schufelt as well, right? So. I mean, you kind of admire that in opponents when you see someone out there that hits as hard as you do, or you're like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah?
You got to try to...
You got to bond that way with those guys?
No, yeah, for sure. That's just it's like a defensive bond,
Right. All right, so tell us about this incident or this van pulling workout, right? Okay, because I've talked about this on the air before, but so, yeah, okay, just lay that out. Someone that's never heard of it, tell us about when you were working out in your driveway pulling a van around.
Okay, it was during the COVID-19 shutdown. Kids were the gyms were closed down.
Right.
Kids were trying to get creative with their workouts. So I seen it on Twitter, and I was like, I want to try. I didn't know if it was going to be hard or not. So my dad, luckily, he had a van. We parked it in the street, and then I got down, we put it in neutral, and then I pushed it, and it went pretty easy, honestly.
Right.
But, it was good. It was good to do.
So is that something that you kept doing during COVID?
Oh yeah, I did it pretty often. I mean, just right here and there with my workouts. Luckily, I had some weights at my house, so that kept me going through the what do you call it, the pandemic. So
Right. So take us through your work right now in the weight room, because obviously I know you guys as a program, you hit it hard.
yeah.
And I see you and Zach all the time, especially. But just tell us about your routine in the weight room right now.
I like to go 4 times a week, 2 upper, 2 lower, and that pretty much keeps me going. I mean, with the additional stuff on the side, like the agilities that Coach Pannoni makes us do and stuff like that. So right now it's pretty good balance, I feel like.
When did that start? I mean, when do you feel like you really came into your own in the weight room there, right? Because, I mean, sometimes you go in as a freshman,
Yeah.
and maybe you really don't know what to expect. You don't know how hard to work in the weight room. But when did you feel like, okay, this is part of my routine. I have to dominate the weight room just like I dominate on the field. When did that kind of come about?
I mean, after my 8th grade year, I really started hitting it hard that way because I wanted to go into my freshman year, kind of knowing already what to do. That way I could hang with the older guys. So, like 8th grade, freshman year out was when I was really hitting it hard, and then it kind of just carried over throughout up until my senior year now.
You talked about your COVID a little bit. That's when you started the van thing. But what else did you guys have to do during COVID? I mean, what did you guys do, one, to stay together as a team?
I mean, we did a lot of Google Meets. I mean, typically most teams did that, but I mean, we did it a lot. I mean, position meetings, like defensive meetings, team meetings, special teams, all that. So that kept us connected. Just going and hanging out at the park, throwing the ball around. We did that a lot too.
What about from a weights and workout routine? What did you guys do during COVID? How did things change? What did you guys do to stay physically ready?
I mean, we did meets for that as well. I mean, Coach Pannoni had lists of body workouts for us to do. So, I mean, we did that. And then additional, I mean, all of us, we kind of, found our way to get our hands on some weights. So we did that. And
how hard was it adjusting to a new coach during COVID? I mean, you probably weren't in the building as much as you would be regularly.
Oh, no.
So you get this new coach. He comes in here. I mean, how hard was that?
It was kind of hard because literally right when Coach Pannoni came, he had like maybe a week with us, and then that's when the schools shut down. So, I mean, it was kind of hard. You can't really meet someone, say, like you would in person over the phone. So, I mean, it took a while, but now that we're back in school and stuff, things are really good with Coach Pannoni, and the whole team loves him. So,
is he as cool as I think he is? Because I dig Coach Pannoni.
Oh, no, he's cool.
I love the shorts in the middle of the winter. I love that he's got the stopwatch out pregame, timing your guys' reps. I don't even bother him anymore because he's so old school and so serious.
Yeah, he's
but
focused.
I respect the hell out of that dude. But I certainly don't bother him with my stupid media questions anymore. At the beginning, I did. And then now I'm like, no, I dig what this guy's cooking, so I don't even bother him anymore. How is he? Because he seems like just that cool old school football guy.
No, he's old school for sure, but I mean, that's what we need. I mean, football these days are kind of different, and it's a little more fast-paced, but he's really into that, and he's like new school, but really old school at the same time, so it's a good blend.
And, I mean, when the first time he starts timing all these reps during pregame, and, I mean, Rio Rancho's played fast before offensively, right? But, I mean, it seems like he's brought that to a whole new level. I mean, what was the vibe of the team like when he first started doing that?
I mean, it was a little hectic at first because, man, we were running crazy, and we weren't used to that. But, I mean, he's real heavy on the defensive side of the ball, pursuit, and offense on the tempo, so.
And you got a new defensive coordinator as well, with Coach Martinez. So, and he knows obviously that side of the football, and that's where you guys have kind of made your name, especially at the beginning of the season. So just talk about the defensive mindset that those guys have installed in you guys.
I mean, Coach Martinez, he's a great coach, and I mean, what I love about him is his game plan. I mean, it's always on point, and he wants to stop them of what they're best at. So, I mean, but he really, I mean, he trusts us, like, to make decisions on our own, and he trusts, like, our defense. So, I mean, it kind of goes both ways. He gives us a game plan, and we execute it, and it's that type of deal.
All right, we'll take our first break. When we come back with Lucas, we'll talk about some of the early years, and then we'll get into some games this year where his defense is doing absolutely dominant. We'll be right back.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
CarCrafters, it's like it never happened.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited, and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better. And we welcome you to bring your kids also. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
All right, back with hard-hitting Lucas Lucero, the Rio Rancho Rams. We're talking about that defense and Coach Martinez and just kind of the mindset. Well, you come out of the gate. First of all, you have a couple of cancellations at the beginning, right, because of COVID. So does that motivate you guys even more? Are you guys even more furious at that point that you just want to get out there? You're tired of hitting each other. You want to hit somebody else. Like, tell us about that at the beginning of the season.
Truthfully, I think we play better when we have an extra week to prepare. I mean, it kind of just builds up, you know. We want to get out there, and I think that really helped us against La Cueva especially.
So we start the season, and obviously your first game is that 50-0 shutout against La Cueva. It's on statewide TV. It's the game of the week. La Cueva never has had it handed to them like that before. So take us on the field. What's that like, playing on that defense, knowing you guys are just absolutely kicking their you-know-what?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we were really excited to play Goddard. I mean, we got a new squad, senior-led, so we were really excited to get out there, and then the cancellation happened, and everyone was hurt. So, I mean, it just built up more fuel for La Cueva, and we went out there, and we were just balling. So, I mean, we were just playing fast and playing aggressive, and it all just happened really in a blink of an eye, and it was 50-0, and I was just...
Yeah, well, I mean, we did the game, obviously, and you could sense from the broadcast booth that the La Cueva body language was, they knew.
Yeah.
Like, they knew what was happening. And, I mean, could you feel that on the field, that you were just dominating?
I mean, yeah, and especially, I mean, Coach Benoni, the whole offseason was just preaching to us about the weight room, and, you know, that it's going to give us a big advantage. And I think it really did. That night it showed.
After the game, you know, you start... Well, okay, a couple things. One, you start hearing this talk maybe like, oh, La Cueva didn't have all their guys. Yeah. I mean, did that motivate you guys even more? Like, hey, you know, we'll give it to you again in the playoffs if you want some more. Like,
yeah.
What does that do to you guys as a team? You start hearing some of this stuff like, hey, they weren't at full strength, all that nonsense.
I mean, yeah, we know players are going to talk and, you know, I mean, not try to make excuses, but, you know, come up with something. And a lot of them told us that they'll see us in the playoffs. I mean, so we'll be ready for that. And may the best man win.
Right. You move on to their district mates, right, El Dorado. So now you shut them out as well. So, I mean, obviously, going into the season, I think everyone picked La Cueva and El Dorado to finish 1-2 in that district. You shut out the top 2 teams in that district, both playoffs teams, 90-0. I mean, your defense is playing at an unbelievable level at that point. I mean, take us through the vibe of the defense at that point. Are you guys feeling invincible at that point? Or are you just...
I mean, pretty close to invincible. I mean, we're starting to get a little cocky, so... I mean, and then after that, we went down to Oregon Mountain, and they scored the first touchdown of the season on us, and honestly, we were pretty pissed. So.
Yeah, I was a little surprised when I looked at that score. When I didn't see a shutout there, I was a little I was a little surprised myself.
Because you would think, but yeah.
So, I mean, there was talks at the beginning of the season, like you guys are moving in on a possible record-setting defense, right? Did you hear some of that chatter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seems
So, I mean, what does Coach Martinez do to keep you guys grounded, reset you guys after the Oregon Mountain game, keep you guys hungry and in pursuit?
I mean, he kind of told us to block out that noise. I mean, it's kind of hard not to, love it. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it was only 2 games, and we had a lot of football to play at that point. So,
I want to go forward to another game against another playoff team, and that's when you guys played Cibola, right? I mean, Cibola put some points up.
yeah.
First quarter, I mean, that was a close game in the first quarter. I thought they had a pretty good strategy. They kept a long drive. They kind of kept your offense off the field a little bit. What was going on in the sideline through the first quarter? You guys hadn't been in a game like that.
Yeah.
At that point, I mean, what were the coaches telling you? What are you guys saying to each other? Take us kind of down to the sideline.
I mean, the coaches, I don't think were too worried. They trusted us to get the job done at the end of the day. But, I mean, the players were getting a little frustrated, but we kind of just had to, take a deep breath and regroup. And then it was the game from there.
It was at that game when I was doing some research. That's when I found out about the stat that no one has thrown a completion in your direction.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's pretty amazing. Like, did you know about that going in, or did you just like, oh, no one's throwing at me, or did you know, like, yeah, no one's gonna throw at Lucas Island here? I mean, were you aware of what was going on?
I kind of expected it, and then
did you think that was the game? If anyone was gonna take a shot in your direction, then maybe it would be Aiden?
No, just because, I mean, I know Aiden a little bit more on the personal side, and to be honest, I knew he wasn't going to throw my way. So
I love it. I love the confidence. So you come out of that one, obviously, 65-35 win. Still no completions thrown your way. I mean, and now, of course, the talk is in full effect, right? Like, it's Rio Rancho against Cleveland. Rio Rancho against Cleveland. It's going to be those two at the end of the season. It's going to be those two at the end of the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
How hard is it to navigate through a season with everyone talking about that?
I mean, see, when it comes to that, I don't like to talk about that. I don't like to do my talking until, the job's done. So, I mean, we all know what happened at the end of the regular season, but hopefully we see him again.
Well, we'll get to that. I mean, I do want to talk about that game a little bit. I mean, kind of take us through that game.
I mean, we had a great first half, and then, honestly, we got cocky in the locker room at halftime, and I think we made a mistake just doing that. We need to come out with a more hungry mindset,
Did you, after the game, what did Coach Pannoni tell the troops to kind of, reset?
At the end of the game?
Yeah, after the game.
I mean, he just told us, we got playoffs now, put that behind us, and we need to focus up and not let that happen again, pretty much.
I know Zach did an interview on the radio, and he said, hey, this was probably the best thing that could have happened to us. Do you agree with that? Tell us why you think that.
Truthfully, I mean, I was thinking about it before the game, I was like, maybe we do need a slap in the face to wake us up for playoff time,
And is that kind of where you guys are at now? You've seen that you're not invincible. If there's a good team on the other side, they can win, and they did.
Yeah.
And, that is a very good football team on the other side, obviously. So, I mean, has that changed your mindset heading into the playoffs?
I don't think it really changed our mindset, but it definitely changed. It kind of like woke us up, to remind us that we're not invincible and that we do need to go hard every play,
Now let's not talk about the result of the game, but just talk about how special that rivalry is with Cleveland.
It's fun. It's a big deal. I mean, it's like for the last, maybe a decade, it's both of us have been, top schools in the state. So it's a big deal.
Take us inside, like what during the week. I know I talked to Coach Ridenauer a little bit, and he said, hey, it's another week for us, but the kids are definitely more focused, so that's nice. Similar on your campus there, just a little more focused. What about like the old school, like when Josh and I were going to school? We're older guys now, right? But when we had rivals, like there used to be pranks and stuff at the other school. Like, does that still happen?
No, I mean, and that's maybe just because there's a lot more security and stuff like that. So,
cameras and stuff. Yeah, I guess that wasn't around when Josh and I were roaming the mean halls of Del Norte High. I can't tell you some of the stuff we did to La Cueva, but all right, so those days are over, I guess, because of security cameras. Well, that's a shame to hear. I was hoping to get some funny stories about that. We'll take another break. There's still a lot to get to with Lucas. We do want to talk about your early childhood, what other sports you played, and then we want to talk about what's next. I want to talk about UNM. I want to give I'll do this now before we get a break, okay? Take my solo, Josh. Take my solo. Okay? I want to talk to Coach Gonzalez directly here, okay? If you're watching Coach Gonzalez, and you probably are, because this is probably your favorite show, let's be honest. This is a guy we can't let escape. Okay, Lucas Lucero. This is a guy you want on campus. This is a guy you want on your team. I guarantee you give him a shot, and he'll be on scholarship. He'll earn that scholarship. This is a guy we can't let get away. We'll be right back.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Dream style roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right, put a smile on your face. There at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of Proview Networks.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
Car crafters, it's like it never happened.
All right, we're back with Rio Rancho Ram Lucas Lucero. Before the break, we were talking about a little bit about what's next. But before that, we're talking about how hard of a hitter you were. If you got a head start from the other side of this studio, how many of my ribs do you think you could crack? I mean, because we got a pretty big studio here. No, we're not going to try it, okay? We called our insurance provider. We're not going to try it. But, I mean, if you got a good start there, I mean, you give me a good shot. No, don't lay up easy. How many of my ribs do you think you can?
2+.
2+? Yeah, see, I'm glad we didn't get that cleared with insurance. All right, so we got to talk about what's next because obviously, you know, I talked to Coach Gonzalez into the camera before the break. I hope he hears that because there's local kids now playing at UNM, and it seems like you guys want to play at UNM now, and that's different than ever before, right? Before, people just wanted to get the heck up on out of here, right? Thanks to Bob Davey. But now it's different. And people want to stay. So, I mean, talk about how exciting that is to see Isaiah out there with the guns.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a connection there with Coach Howes. And, I mean, is that a dream of yours to play at home at UNM? Tell us about that.
I mean, Coach Gonzalez, I mean, he went to Valley, and that's the district I live in. So, I mean, there's a connection there, too. And Coach Howes being my former coach. And then, you know, just growing up in Albuquerque, being, like, seeing Lobos, everything, Lobos everywhere. I mean, I got Lobo stuff at my house, you know. Just,
right.
So, I mean, yeah, it would be definitely sweet to go play there. So,
and how has the mindset changed for you guys now? Like, I mean, where the program is kind of a destination now, right? I mean, how have things changed? You've seen it. You've lived in this town. So how have things changed?
I mean, I think, you know, Coach Gonzalez coming in and he talked about he wants to, you know, bring local players in. So, I mean, that's definitely, I mean, when we hear that, I mean, it makes us want to go there. So, right.
And so where are you at in that process to play at the next level? I know you're a pretty focused kid. And I know you're thinking about Friday, but I mean, this is something that's got to be on your mind. So tell us about that.
I mean, truthfully, I mean, I want to go play at the next level for sure, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna get there. Or, I mean, the picture isn't clear right now, but I know I'm gonna do it for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be one cracked rib at a time. He's gonna hit his way to a Division I scholarship. I promise you that. Okay. All right. Let's talk about your support system. Obviously, you have to have a great support system at home. Were your parents athletic? Tell us about that.
My dad, he played football. He was really good too.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I get a lot of my athleticism from. I mean, my mom's side of the family, no one's ever played football. I'm the first football player from my mom's family.
And not a lot of people know, but your brother's on the team as well, right?
Yeah, my little brother, Noel.
So, all right, so he could be next in line for quarterback, right?
Oh, definitely.
So that's exciting as well. I mean, talk about growing up. What other sports did you play? I mean, did you kind of specialize in football at a young age? What others did you play?
My first sport was actually baseball. So I used to be really good at that, and then
What position in baseball?
I was pitcher catcher.
Okay.
Kind of moved around the field, you know.
Okay.
Because I mean it was in little league, so I could do it all.
All right. What else?
And then I went to Yaffle, and then started playing that, and then that's when I fell in love with football.
When did you kind of say, okay, football's it? I'm gonna not do these other things and just focus on football?
I mean, once I got to high school, I learned that, you know, it could give me a college education. So that was when I really started focusing on it. And I mean, doing things like track and basketball on the side, I mean, they're good for football. So I'd really never stop playing those.
Right. And so, I mean, how your parents, your support system in place at home, I mean, how will you make that decision about the next level? Talk about that.
I mean, yeah, my mom, she definitely don't want me to go. My dad's a little bit more lenient about where I can go around the country, you know, for school. So, but it'd be hard to leave my mom for sure.
Now, were you the Yaffle kid that was bigger than everyone and just pounded everyone?
Truthfully, yeah, I was pretty bigger than everyone.
Okay, because we've seen some of that, right? Like, I mean, just talking about one of your opponents, right? Is at Cleveland there, Madrano was like a beast as well in Yaffle, right? He was bigger than everyone. So you were that kid, a little bigger, a little more physical, like just dominating.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I mean, who did you kind of look back at that and tell us who else was on that team? Who else did you play with? Where are they now?
I played with Sean Johnson. He plays basketball over there at Sandia now. And who else did I play with? Gabe Torres. He was the quarterback at Valley. Kevin Griner. He plays basketball at Valley now too. And I don't know if you know him, Gilbert. He goes to Albuquerque High.
Right.
He plays both ways. Cade too from Albuquerque High.
Is it crazy to see how kind of like these Yaffle teams were so good? They had so many studs on these Yaffle teams, and now they're kind of all over the place.
Yeah, we put a good Yaffle team together. Mostly kids from like the metro area around here downtown. So Albuquerque High, Valley. I went the farthest for sure.
Right. So let's preview the playoffs with the little time we have left. I mean, obviously everyone is, you know, anticipating this rematch, right? But there's a lot of work to do before that, right?
Oh yeah.
So talk about that.
I mean, everyone's anticipating that 1-2 matchup again, but I mean, again, I'm just trying to stay focused. The whole team's trying to stay focused on 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time. Because, I mean, when you're in the playoffs, anything can happen, and upsets, they're bound to happen. So we're just trying not to let that happen to us.
Has preparation changed at all during the playoffs, or is it kind of business as usual?
Yeah, business as usual. Nothing's really changed. I mean, just a little more focus after that loss to Cleveland, so.
I mean, are you a guy that kind of watches the other teams when your guys aren't playing? Do you watch the other teams, or are you just like, whatever, whoever's on the other side on Friday, or do you kind of watch the other teams and see what they're up to?
I mean, I watch film for sure, and I like to study my opponent, but at the end of the day, I mean, we just line up and play.
All right, so has anyone thrown a completion yet on Lucas Island?
As far as man, no. Okay. They have thrown in my zone though.
Okay, so but nothing on man to man.
No, I mean in that zone too. I just jumped it. I was a little too hungry for that pick. And then,
so the question is going to be: are we going to end this season with no completions when you're playing man? Is that a goal? I mean, because the end isn't near now. Is that an individual goal maybe?
It's a goal, but I mean it's kind of in the back of my mind. You know, I'm trying to keep the opponent at 0 first, like a team first type of guy. So.
And how do you feel about the nickname Lucas Island?
I like it.
Is that something that can stick, you think?
Yeah, I like it.
All right. Fantastic. Thanks for making the time. I know it's a busy week and you guys got playoffs to get ready for, but I'm a big fan. And continue all the good work. And I know we'll be watching you on Saturdays for sure. Thanks a lot for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching, everybody, and good night.